At the end of the 19th century, many people had jobs with set hours and a reliable income. This gave them extra time and money which they used to either compete in or spectate sports. White men also lost a lot of their power following the Civil War and the increasing women's rights movements, so they turned to sports to declare their masculinity. Although records show that boxing has been around since as early as 1500 BC, the first official match took place in England in 1681. In 1867, John Graham proposed a new code of rules. These rules would be called the Queensberry Rules after John Soulto Douglas, the Marquis of Queensberry. These rules quickly gained popularity throughout America as well as other parts of the world. Some of the most famous boxers during this time period were gentlemen James Corbett as well as John L. Sullivan. The two boxers faced off in a match in 1892 in which Corbett defeated Sullivan. Gentleman Jim then became the first heavyweight champion under the Queensberry Rules. Although baseball was created during the 1840s, it gained popularity and further developed in the 1890s. During the development of professional leagues, players were traded as the owners pleased and had no say in what they wanted to do. Players were also paid very little while the owners of teams made great deals of money. African Americans were not allowed to play in white leagues and were forced to create their own. In 1871, the National Association of Baseball Players was founded. It was the first professional league of baseball and was a structurally loose confederation of professional teams that continued until the 1875 season. The sport developed to hold its own series of championship games, the World Series, the first of which were held on October 23rd to 25th, 1884, with the face-off of the Providence Grays against the New York Mets. The first modern World Series was played October 1st through 13th, 1903, with the Pittsburgh Pirates against the Boston Americans. Another one of America's favorite pastimes during the Gilded Age was basketball. It was created by James Naismith when his boss at the YMCA asked him to make an indoor game that would keep the athletes in shape during the cold New England winters. There were only 13 rules in the original game of basketball, whereas today there are 10 basic rules. Some of these rules include a ball being able to be thrown in any direction with one or both hands, as well as not being able to run with the ball. Early games of football had a lot in common with mob football in England. The two sports were similar in which they both had a common goal of moving the ball to the opponent's side of the field. Early football was a dangerous game. For example, Harvard's entry football team, Bloody Monday, was banned in 1860. The first football game was Rutgers versus Princeton in 1869. During this time, throwing and running with the ball was not allowed. However, brutal contact was allowed. Football changed over time thanks to Walter Camp, who's known as the father of American football. He is responsible for innovations such as the line of scrimmage, safety, the system of downs, and as well as although Yale had banned football, Walter Camp was able to play for and coach for the team once it was founded. Soon after the development of college football, professional teams came about. The origin can be traced back to 1892 when William Pudge Hellefinger had a $500 contract to play in a game for the Allegheny Athletic Association against the Pittsburgh Athletic Club. This, however, was seen as dishonorable and the payment remained a secret. The first wholly pro game was played in Pennsylvania in 1895 between Latrobe Athletic Association and the Jeannette Athletic Club. Latrobe won 12-0. During this, Latrobe's quarterback was the first player to openly admit to being paid for playing. The first amusement parks in the U.S. were located on Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York. Some of the first amusement parks included Steeplechase Park, Luna Park, Dreamland, and Sea Lion Park. Coney Island was a land of inexpensive entertainment such as the first roller coaster, the Switchback, earning it the nicknames of Poor Man's Paradise and Nickel Empire.